Approximating area under curves. Part 1, Summation notation. Suppose you have 100 data points and you would like to add them together. Summation notation allows you to do this succinctly. The sigma symbol tells you to add. After the sigma sign, you are told what you are adding. The bottom number tells you the first value of k, and the top number tells you the last value of k. Sigma notation assumes you increment by 1. For example, after k equals 3, you will have k equals 4. Suppose you only want to add a portion of the 100 data points. For example, suppose you want to add a sub 9 through a sub 13. In that case, your first value of k is equal to 9. The last value of k is 13. I just want to point out that the upper bound gives the last value of k, not how many terms you have. This particular summation has 5 terms. Instead of a data point symbol after the sigma notation, you may see a function. Evaluate the function for each value of k and add the results. For each value of k, we're going to evaluate 3k minus 1. K is going to start at 2. When k is equal to 2, the value of the function is 5. When k is 3, the value of the function is 8. When k is 4, the value of the function is 11. And when k equals 5, the value of the function is 14. 5 is the last value of k, so we stop there. Suppose we want to add 2 50 times. In sigma notation, it would look like this. Adding 2 50 times, I would have a sum of 100. In general, if you add c n times, the summation will be c times n. Suppose you want to add k, with k going from 1 to n. That means you're going k equals 1. That means that you're going 1 plus 2 plus 3 and so on until you get to whatever your upper bound is. This is the same as if I were to find n times n plus 1 over 2. Now, one thing I want to point out is that this formula is for k specifically starting at 1. You cannot use this formula unless k starts at 1. For example, if you add the first 100 positive integers, you would get 5,050. Suppose you want to add perfect squares with k starting at 1 and going up to n. So that would be the same as going 1 squared plus 2 squared plus 3 squared all the way up to n squared. And we have a formula for that. Again, this formula only works if k starts at 1 and goes up to n. So if you were to add up your first 100 perfect squares, you would get this value. And there's a formula for adding up the first 100 perfect cubes. And as you can imagine, it's a fairly large number. So if I were to have something like this, notice that k is starting at 1. It's going up to 50. What I'm going to need to do is I need to rewrite the expression so that I can use one of those sum formulas. So this takes some algebra. First thing I'm going to do is pull the 1 over 25 out to the front. Then I break my summation into two individual summations. Next, I rewrite k over 25 to the third power. And then I pull the 1 over 25 to the third power, I pull that outside of the summation. And so what I do next is, what I've done is I have rewritten my summation so that I end up with two summations that I can do using sum formulas. So now I use the sum formulas. After I use the sum formulas, I just evaluate very, very carefully. On a test, if I ask you to do a summation, you will be able to do it either by hand, meaning there's only going to be a few terms, or by using summation rules. For homework, though, you have the option of using software such as Excel or Wolfram Alpha. And of course, you also have, if you have a graphing calculator, you can use that. However, the graphing calculator is not necessary for tests. And even if you had the graphing calculator, you'd have to show your work anyway. If you use Wolfram Alpha, you need to switch to horizontal notation. And one thing I really like about Wolfram Alpha is that it tells me how it interprets what I type in. And so I just check that what I typed in is what I mean to type in. And as I said, if you have a graphing calculator, these are some instructions for the TI-84. And for our particular summation, these would be the commands. But the graphing calculators, they all vary, and even the TI-84, depending on which version you have, the instructions are going to vary. So you really should check your manual. Take care and have a great day.